for all stakeholders who really wish to appreciate the dynamics within the Ghanaian digital ecosystem, how to do business research, and a whole lot more. And I believe that on this platform, academics, inventors, innovative hub leaders, and a whole lot more research and a whole lot more who are here to support. I'm also glad to introduce you our speaker for today, Peter Dog Tindana. He is in the house helping us to appreciate the Ghanaian digital ecosystem and a whole lot more, helping you all to appreciate. And I will say hello to all partners who've joined from other parts of the continent to appreciate the trend. Thank you so much, Naomi, for setting this up, and the Hyperspace team. Filipina is here representing Hyperspace, and she will be doing a brief introduction about the SEADE project and why we all are here to appreciate the Ghanaian digital ecosystem. So I wouldn't want to mince words. I would share the slide for Filipina to kindly take up the brief introduction of SEADE. So let's stay tuned for that.
Thank you very much, Ajiman. Thank you for introducing me and for welcoming our very distinguished guests. And thank you very much to our guests for joining us today. So I'm going to be giving a very brief description of what the SEADE project is all about. Ajiman, next slide, please. All right, so I'm sure you've seen SEADE, capital 5 letters. SEADE is an acronym, and it means strengthening the Europe-Africa digital ecosystem through increased research and innovation cooperation. So that is what we've summed it up briefly to get our acronym SEADE. And this is a Horizon Europe initiative that aims to provide support to research and innovation ecosystems in both Europe and Sub-Saharan Africa. So with this project, the project is driven by a human-centered approach, which is very important to us. And it focuses on digital transformation. And we are looking at international collaboration to address key challenges faced by these ecosystems. So we have AU, we have EU, and we have countries in there that are representing. And we want to solve these challenges, right, that we face in these ecosystems. So that is what our SEADE project is about briefly. Okay, so the components of our consortium, we have 10 partners. We have 5 in Europe, 5 in Africa. So that's what you see in the representation over there. Our African partners, we have Ghana, we have Senegal, we have Kenya, we have South Africa, and the respective organizations that represent them. For Europe, we also see the 5. We have Steinbeck, we have EBN, Bondinov, BPI, France. So these are the partners that come together to form the SEADE consortium. Next slide, please. Okay, so SEADE aligns with the EU Global Gateway, right, initiative, and this aims to support infrastructure development around the world. So we have some core components that SEADE aligns with. So we have the democratic values and high standards. SEADE aligns perfectly with this, which is the EU's commitment to promote democracy, rule of law, and human rights. We also align with good governance and transparency. We align with equal partnerships, which you can see in our consortium as EU and AU is coming together. So the cooperation is there. We also align very well with green and clean. So we support sustainability, adhering to eco-friendly practices in the digital innovation ecosystem and the like. SEADE also aligns very well with the AU-EU innovation agenda. Now, this agenda symbolizes collaboration, right, between African Union and European Union. And when you look at our consortium, it's evident, right, that SEADE aligns perfectly with that. We have Europe and we have Africa coming together to create something amazing. So there again, we align with Agenda 2063, which is the Africa we want, right? Now it refers to Africa's strategic framework for inclusive growth, for sustainable development, and SEADE supports this vision by enhancing digital and research collaboration that contribute to Africa's development goals. So we are there as well. Now, when it comes to the SDGs, right, SEADE contributes directly to several of them. Now, let's pick a few. So we have quality education, SDG 4. We have decent work and economic growth, SDG 8. We have innovation and infrastructure, SDG 9. We have partnership for the goals of the ecosystem, which is SDG 17. So as you can see, the SEED initiative, it aligns with several global goals, and we are promoting innovation, we are promoting research, we are promoting sustainability in both Africa and Europe. Next slide, please. All right, so key activities in the pilot regions. I mentioned the pilot regions earlier, the African countries. And the key activities that will be going on in there, some have already begun. We've had the learning expeditions in Ghana. We're having webinars. We've already had about 2 webinars before this one. And you are participating in this one. So thank you for joining us. And I assure you're going to learn a lot. We'll be having boot camps, training programs, soft landing, youth training programs. And all this is supposed to help link EU and AU, right? Linking Europe with Africa. It's also supposed to help enhance the digital ecosystem of these two continents. It's also supposed to help capacity building and market access for both continents, or for the countries in both continents. So we urge you to follow us on LinkedIn if you haven't, so that you don't miss anything, any of these activities in your pilot region or in the country you find yourself. Next slide, please. All right, so upcoming activities. On 30th October, we have the State of Innovation in Africa, a South African perspective. This is a webinar, so you can be wherever you are on any of the continents in the world and enjoy this webinar. And I invite you to register, and then you can enjoy this webinar. So follow us, SEADE, on LinkedIn. You won't miss any activity of ours. You will see everything that we are about to do, and you can register and you can join us and you can enjoy. On 4th December, we'll have a SEADE R&I Summit in Cape Town. You're invited if you are in and around South Africa around the time. And if there will be any online events, of course, if you're following us, you will have the link to register, and then you can join us and also enjoy what the SEED project has to offer. That's all I have for today. Thank you very much for listening to my humble submissions. And don't forget to follow us. It's very important. Follow us on LinkedIn so that you don't miss any activity of ours, because things are going to get pretty interesting. Thank you very much again. And over to you, Ajuman.
Thank you so much. And if you're here, you can also use the applause emoji to say thank you so much to Filipina for the succinct brief introduction to SEAD. And you will agree with me that at this point, you would want to appreciate why there is a need for us to open up the digital ecosystem of Ghana. It is an emerging spot. Ghana is really a potential spot for research and innovation collaboration. And SEAD project has come to augment Ghana's potential. So all of you stakeholders across the continent. And I really want to talk more about this. There is an expert in the house, Dr. Peter Nan, Sustainability Country Lead of Flujo Ghana Limited, who will be giving us a valuable insight and his expertise as well concerning how we can appreciate all the segments of Ghana's digital ecosystem and how it's open for you to participate in research and collaboration. So I don't want to miss words. Let me just call upon Dr. Peter Nana. Doc, can you hear me? Okay, so we need to also appreciate the volatility and internet connection. So wherever you are, Doc, I believe that you can hear me, and you can unmute yourself and also activate your video so we can appreciate your presence. Oh, so okay, all right, let me just rectify that for you. Okay, so I think now your mic is allowed and your camera is allowed. Hello, Doc, can you
All
hear
right.
me?
Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good. Your camera is
All
on
right.
too.
So first of all, I just want to apologize for a bit of my background. If it is not clear, then I may have to reposition myself. I have been traveling and I am in the field with some clients who came from
Hmm.
Europe and from
Hmm.
Asia. So sorry
Hmm.
that I'm not in the office to give you a beautiful background, but I'm sure it is my voice and the ideas that we want to hear. So I just say a good day to all of us and thank you for
Sure.
the opportunity.
Sure.
Yes.
Good day. Good day. And you are well positioned too. I like the fact that you're giving us the realistic feel of how the work is like to be on the field and engage stakeholders. So take us on. How is it going thus far?
All right. So I guess I can share my screen and we'll
Go
proceed,
ahead.
right?
Yeah, go
Yes.
ahead.
All right. Please, can you see my screen?
Very well. Can we have it in
Okay.
I think slide mode?
Yes, 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 yes. Just a moment. All right. So basically, I just want to say once again, thank you for the opportunity and for the SEADE interventions that you are doing and all that you are doing across Africa. When we were having the dry round session, I told our partners that I see it as an opportunity for us to address the various challenges that are confronting the African continent. Having taught in the university, teaching courses on current development issues and development planning and administration, I think that such webinars are timely, and I want to encourage our participants that it is a day for us to interact and to share knowledge. Of course, they are saying doctor, doctor, but for me, I believe that it is an interaction for us to share knowledge and to believe. So how do I caption our interaction? I call it that, just a minute, I'm having a bit of technical challenge with my, okay. So I call it we are looking at the riveting role of Ghana in Africa's research and innovation. As I prepared my PowerPoint, I thought about how do I caption this? And this was what came to mind, that we are looking at riveting role. And when I say riveting, I'm talking about a compelling role of Ghana as a country and what we are contributing to the research and innovation space within the African continent and also as part of the SEED projects. What we want to look at the end of this webinar is for us to be able to understand this is what we will be taking home. And being the researcher as I have been, I decided that my content that I will share are stated like much more like specific objectives. So the first one we want to know is what about Ghana? Then the second thing we want to talk about is how is Ghana's economic growth? Then we shall be talking about the innovative ecosystem. When we say innovation ecosystem, what really are we talking about? Then we'll drive home to look at, in the context of Ghana, which are the pivotal sectors that are driving technological advancement. Then we'll therefore go to ask and answer the question, is there an expanding research and innovation infrastructure in Ghana? If yes, then how then do we leverage on that? Then we'll talk about the opportunities. Where are the areas of opportunities for collaboration? We'll now be looking at the areas for investment prospects for our global partners and stakeholders who have joined us in this webinar. Then we will now look lastly, how is Ghana actually setting the stage for a transformative partnership?
So let's roll it. Bear with Dr. Doc on his challenge with the internet. I believe he will be back to join us in some few minutes. I'll try and then do a back door talk with him to see if everything is all right. So let's all be keep our fingers crossed while you prepare to join us again. All right, so we got him back. We got him back. So Dr. Peter Doc
Hi, guys.
is with us. Yeah, welcome
Yes.
back.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
It's as if, please, you can hear me, right?
very well.
All right. So I think that Philippa did a bit of justice to this. Let me put this. So we are looking fundamentally. Let's talk about when you say Ghana, what we are really looking at. Basically, when you say Ghana, the name Ghana actually means the warrior king. And this name was gotten in the days of the Soniki language, which was associated with the old Ghana Empire that existed between the 6th to the 13th century. So, and whenever you heard Ghana, what it meant was that we were talking about a warrior king. So when you hear Ghana, we are a nation that is always at war. And this name came as a result of our strong military and trade relations that we had at that time, basically trading with North Africa and people of the Mediterranean world. It is interesting for us to have a perspective of the country that we are talking about, that there is a Hebrew word that is called Ghana, which means to surround. And basically that word means that it also means to cover or to defend. So many have said that etymologically, Ghana is actually serving as the surrounding countries to the African continent. We are a cover. We provide a kind of a defense to the world. I bring up all these because it is important for us to understand that in talking about innovation, research and innovation ecosystems in Africa and also digitalization, the expanding role of Ghana can never be underestimated. That's why I bring all these. And it is no wonder that we are actually the defender of the freedom and the justice within the African continent. Of course, many of us know that Ghana, which I connote, is described as the first begotten from the death of colonization. Within the West African sub-region and in Africa, we became one of the first countries to have gained independence. So we have a strategic role in terms of the interactions and we were also part of the countries that the Portuguese first discovered and had a lot of roles, and this is very important. Of course, Ghana is the home of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement or area. That is why I have here the African Trade House. It is located in Ghana. AFTA is located in Ghana. So this is the country we are talking about. Ghana is actually the beacon of democracy in West Africa. And we are also looking at even Africa as a whole. So that's the country we are talking about. We can say that Ghana is a home to many diverse ecological systems. Of course, I brought in this point because we are looking at innovation ecosystems, and some of the ecosystems that we may need to consider are in the context of what? Development and environmental related ecosystems, and it is very important. Officially, we have English as the language that is being used to train all of us from school. And I remember my boss from Europe says that she can assert that Ghanaians speak English very fluently. And she was asking what really accounts for it. And I said, it is actually our language of schooling, and that is what is being used by our educational system. So that is something for us to know about Ghana. My slide is a bit freezy. Please, all right. So let's talk about the next thing we want to talk about. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I wanted to recommend that if you could kindly disable your video so you could have an efficient internet support in this case. So you could.
All right, I think that will be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Let me, just briefly, sorry. I think I'll disable this. Okay. So let's talk about the economy of Ghana, economic growth of Ghana. Ajman, you have my presentation, right?
Yes, I do.
So will you want to, I don't know, because it looks like my internet is really a bit slow here. Will you want to share my slide from there for me?
I will do that for you.
Like you were doing for Philippa.
Yeah, I'll do that for you in a minute.
Okay. It is important to state that before we get there, that for most of our global partners who are looking for areas of opportunities to collaborate, this is one of the areas of opportunities that we can tap on. And yes,
can you see my screen, please?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Are we at the right spot, or I should go forward?
No, please move forward.
All right.
Move forward. The next one. Yes, so we are here.
All right.
Please back to the previous one.
Okay.
Yes, so we are looking at the economic growth in Ghana. It is important for our audience to understand that when we are talking about economy, we are looking at the facets of the various components of in terms of economic, the demand supply interactions. Basically, with my university degree, economics that I left when I was in second year. But key things for us to note about Ghana is that Ghana is a resource-rich country. There are a lot of resources that we possess, both on land and in water. We have a lot of mineral resources. We know of the popular mining related activities. And it is actually the name Gold Coast that was given to us by the Portuguese was because of the fact that they realized that the people in country were into the internal sourcing and marketing of what gold. We have water-related resources very much a lot. So these are things that we need to know. Particularly, one of the major things that contributes to the economic growth of Ghana is the fact that we are the second leading producer of cocoa, which has become a very vital commodity. And being in the industry, it is really one of the major export products that actually, with a lot of resources returning into the country to support the livelihood of farmers, especially and households within the cocoa producing enclaves. But not just that, being the industry, cocoa industry also supports infrastructure developments in a number of sense. Ghana's economic growth is also guided by the fact that the country has a conducive environment for foreign direct investment. So we have a lot of global companies, a lot of partners who are with their companies flourishing in Ghana. And that is one of the major things that the country really positions itself as the hub of what innovation and research within what Africa. It is important in the context of trade and industry, as well as technology. It is important, it is estimated that Ghana has about 145 technology and innovation hubs that are spread across, and these are expanding by the day. And the contributions of these technology and innovation hubs to the economic growth of Ghana is not something that we can underestimate. They contribute closely to around 200 and between 299 million to 391 million dollars annually. And this is very, very, very important to state. But of course, I cannot sit here and to say that in talking about the economic growth of Ghana, the nation does not have woes. I think that would be a lie that we want to communicate to our partners. And it is for that reason that I had this to add that it must be known that in the midst of adversity also comes the opportunity to provide solutions to what are the things that are really affecting development within a nation. So Ghana is currently undergoing the bailout by the IMF, and it is this bailout process is bringing a lot of critical reforms in terms of the strengthening. We are looking at strengthening the insolvency regime in terms of our banking systems and also the financial related borrowing and other things by the central bank and by the government. Then the reforms from the IMF is also leading to in terms of access to finance, trying to restructure and make sure that there is a clear path in accessing finance in order to create innovations and to continue with or create innovative pathways to address most of the development challenges that we as a nation face. Some of the reforms are concentrating on the energy sector. We have reforms that are within the legal and regulatory environment. And the focus is really to address these, because remember that I said that Ghana provides the conducive environment for foreign direct investment. So there are legal and regulatory frameworks that are being brought in to make sure that people who want to invest in Ghana through foreign direct investment have a conducive environment. There is also a focus in terms of the reforms to accelerate digitalization. We also look at harnessing the opportunities that are coming with the after the African Free Continental Trade Agreement that has been in place. But most importantly, the structural reforms are also aimed at creating a kind of integration of Ghana with a lot of the global value chains. And I see that this partnership with the SEADE project, which is looking at this Europe-African partnership, which Ghana is part, is a wing of that. Ajiman, let's go to the next slide. I want to talk about when we talk about an innovation ecosystem, we want to understand what really is this, because I know that there are people who have joined this webinar expecting to understand, because when you are really talking about innovation ecosystems, you are talking about innovation and others, what do we really mean? So when you talk about innovation, according to the International Development Alliance, Innovation Alliance, they indicate that when you are talking about innovation, you are looking at it as an outcome of what? A process. But they go further to indicate that when you want to perceive innovation, don't look at it just as the final outcome in itself, but your focus should be about the means by which you improve or achieve what? Development goals. So like Philippa was saying, the project is in alignment with the SDGs. So if you are a person who is here trying to bring or to innovate an idea, what are we saying? We are saying that whatever means that you seek to improve and to achieve development goals, that is called innovation. So we have two defining characteristics of what? Innovation. We are looking at a degree of the newness of a change. So it is not in the university when I was teaching, I always tell my students that when you talk about development, you can talk about development as either a state or a process. And in any way, the state is the final outcome. Then we are talking about the process being the systematic means by which you achieve that final outcome. It is the same way with innovation. We are looking at it as the outcome, but not to draw much emphasis on the outcome, but rather the means to which you achieve that outcome, and that is innovation. So we say we are looking at a degree of the newness of change, one, but we are also looking at the degree of the usefulness or the success in the application of something that is new. So this is what it means to innovate. So, and when you are talking about the concept of new, it could mean that it is new to the world or it is new to a people. So what is new in Europe and it is not new to Ghanaians, when you bring it, it is an innovation. What is new in Ghana when it is not known in Europe and you are able to bring that to Europe, it is an innovation because you are introducing it to a new world, and that is what we mean. Ajman, next slide. So we are looking, so let's understand what an ecosystem is. When you talk about an ecosystem, fundamentally, we know that this is from ecology. And in terms of ecology, basically what you are looking at is the flow of materials and energy. So typically, the food web or the food chain that we have here, you see that the plant is eaten by the grasshopper is eaten by the frog, and the frog can be eaten by the snake, and the snake can be taken by the eagle, and all that complex web. This is basically what we talk about when you are saying an ecosystem. So what we are saying is that to try and link it to innovation, when you talk about innovation, we are talking about the fact that the chain of flow of energy from one place to the other, and that is fundamentally important. According to Shah and Allen, they are saying that when you are talking about an ecosystem, basically you are looking at this recycling flow of nutrients along the paths of living subsystems. So you have various subsystems. So in innovation, you need an innovation ecosystem. So what we are basically trying to say is that there should be a flow of ideas among various sub-living systems. What you are doing must feed into the innovative idea you are bringing must feed into something which in turn feeds into something. So that's recycling flow of what ideas is basically what we are looking at. Ajiman, let's go to the next slide. So therefore, when we want to ask ourselves that when we say an innovation ecosystem, what are we talking about? So when we talk about innovation ecosystem, we are looking fundamentally at the evolving set of actors. So you are talking about the key things to note is that you have a set of actors. So when you talk about innovation ecosystem, these are the fundamental things. You can be an actor, you'll be part of the set of actors, or we also look at the activities, or you look at the artifacts that are involved in that energy flow. Then we are looking at the institutions. We are looking at the relationships and the innovative performance, which is like the outcome at the end of the day. So innovation ecosystem is basically fundamental. We are looking at these fundamental key pillars. As an innovator, you can position yourself to know whether you are part of the set of actors or you are the one who is in the provision of the execution of what the activities, or you provide artifacts that brings aesthetic view to the ecosystem, or you are providing you have created an institution that is supposed to create the platform for the interaction of the various actors and the activities. So that is fundamentally what we are looking at. So in the figure that we see, basically we are looking at the fact that you have the enabling policies and all the other things that are at play. And these things are supposed to have a direct influence on a relationship that exists between the actors and the other parts of the ecosystem. So this is what we mean by an innovation ecosystem. Ajima, next slide, please. So we want to basically look at a few things. There are various types of innovation ecosystems that are there. You can have what we call the regional ecosystem, and basically it often involves local startups and that are in partnership with maybe research institutions like universities, with investors and policymakers. And basically your concern is that you operate to foster innovation and economic development in a specific region. So because of the regional concept, that's why you are giving the name a regional innovation ecosystem. Then we can talk about technology-based ecosystems. These fundamentally are centered around specific emerging technology. We are in the artificial intelligence, the blockchains, and the renewable energies domain in terms of technology. And once you are bringing an innovative idea, you are part of shaping an idea that will bring or help us to achieve development in this regard. By adopting or promoting a kind of emerging technology, then you fall within that space. Then we can talk about the sector specific. These are related to specific sectors. So your innovation is in the healthcare, it is in agriculture or the automobile, then that is sector specific. Then you can talk about academic related innovations. These are often where you have universities that have become, they have hubs for innovation systems, and basically they want to foster collaborations so that researchers, students, and industry players could come together to promote academic ideas into marketable innovations. I remember being in the university, most people say you guys, your research, they always stay within the shelves of the university. People do researches, they are not able to translate them into marketable ideas. When the university system or an academic environment tries to create that kind of infrastructure, then we call it an academic innovation ecosystem. Then we have the corporate innovation ecosystems that are fundamentally looking at, this is often associated with big companies. They try as much as possible to establish a kind of should I say, an ecosystem that fosters innovation to support the achievements of the goals, the strategic goals of those companies. And basically, these are often much more like, can be, if you know the corporate accelerators, incubators, and all the others, you know of the Cosmos Innovation Incubator System and all the others, these are corporate related. Then you have social innovation ecosystems. And fundamentally, their aim is to create social value. Remember that in development, we talk about innovation as a response to achieve development in a specific sense. And we have the social dimension of development, and innovations in that regard are classified under the social innovation systems. Ajiman, next slide, please. I want us to look at the history and the trend of digitalization in Ghana. The literature, as I consulted, tries to lay fundamental. Of course, we know technology has been with us, but in terms of the uprise and the booming or the boisterous emergence of innovations in Ghana, it is actually stated that this actually started picking up around the year 2008. And if you look at the image that we see, in 2008, we just had one, the MEST, the Meltwater Entrepreneurship School of Technology. When that was launched, that was the first kind of lesson. But over the years, we have seen an expansion and a rise. And this data is actually up to 2021, but that has been the growth. And like I was saying, it is important for us to know that the innovation space within the Ghanaian economy is actually currently valued almost around $1 billion. And it is estimated that this may reach about 5 billion by the year 2030, when we have, that is the year, I call it the year, and that we have the SDGs, the end year for a number of the SDGs. So what we are talking about is actually a viable industry that will contribute to the growth of Ghana, to Africa, and the world. And it is very important for us to understand this. Next slide, please. In talking about the innovation ecosystem space within the Ghanaian space, it is important to know the various sectors where that have been the pivotal drivers of what innovation within the space. But I need to also highlight that in terms of in these days, and also being a development researcher, we try to talk about the gendered nature of the innovation space. So it is actually known that most of the innovations are championed by the males. It is championed by the males. And with just about 9% of startups being owned or being led by females. And my sisters and females who are joining this platform, we want to say that there is an opportunity for you. We are trying to create a strike in terms of a balance between what the men can do and what the females or women can do. And there is a room for an expansion that calls for innovators and for stakeholders that let's also have a critical look by investing and supporting female-related startups, because the difference is very, very much. We have 91% of the startups being by male and 9% being by female. Interestingly, in terms of funding, often than not, about 65% of the funding that startups source are often given to the male. Women or female startups often get about, I think about 35%, and that is also a key consideration for us to look at. But to come to the left side of the slide, talking about the key sector, where are the drivers? Which sectors have been driving innovation in Ghana? One, we have the health sector. And one of the typical startups or innovations that have pushed that sector up is the M-Pharma. Then we also have we have agriculture, with farmer line also being a strong innovation that is driving and making agriculture become one of the pivotal sectors where innovation and digital technologies are emerging in Ghana. We have finance. You can talk about popular ZPay that helps people globally, that people who are outside are able to remit funds directly in country. Then we can talk about education. I will say that as way back in 2011, when I was doing my master's in Europe, we had what we call the frontier system, which is just much more like a virtual and an e-learning platform where we could have interactions without necessarily having to be in Europe. You will be there for some time, and these are innovations within the educational space. I can talk about the virtual classroom system at K University, where I have taught students over the past 11 years, I think about 10 to 11 years now. So we have these. We have e-commerce in terms of, we have Jumia and all the others, that these online platforms that you can get there to buy things. Then in terms of administration, the administrative sector has also been one of the pivotal areas where we have the digital innovations happening. And you can talk about the online application platforms, renewal of NHIS, the health insurance for people, and all those ones. But we cannot talk without mentioning the transport sector. We know of Uber and all those others that are connecting these innovations. Yango, you can talk about Bolt and all the others. They are connecting a lot of drivers as well as transporters, commuters, and this is a key typical area where we have a lot of innovations within Ghana. Then we can talk about wholesaling and retailing. So these are the key sectors within the Ghanaian economy where there is a lot of innovation. Next slide, please. Let's talk about still within this domain. It is important for us to understand that most of the startups in Ghana have a major challenge in terms of funding. We currently, most of them try as much as possible to secure funds by engaging in competitions that are often organized by, let's say, incubator, accelerator programs and others. And this is basically the major, if you look at the extreme type, the various people who have been investing and the type of grants, funding or capital that is granted, you see that basically it is much more of what grants that have been given. Where are the, which are the sectors that have benefited much more? You have recycling, you have packaging, you have agri-tech, agribusiness, and we have what? Clean technology. So these are the various dimensions in terms of the funding packages. So most innovation or let's say technology hubs across Ghana intend to rely on grants and applications or participating in an accelerator competition where they present their ideas and they are judged as the best. That's how they win funds to be able to. And that is a way that we need to look at. There is an opportunity for collaboration in this regard. We have so many of them in the country. Next slide, please. So we want to talk about, is there an expansion in terms of the research infrastructure in Ghana, which is supporting digital innovations and technological hubs? The answer is a definite yes. It's a definite yes because one, in Ghana, we have what we call the digital infrastructure that has been created. And I'm talking about the mobile money interoperability system that has been created by the government of Ghana. That really brings fluidity in terms of financial transactions. And that is a typical infrastructure that has created a lot of opportunity. I always tell people that it got to some time, I don't step in the bank. People do easy transactions. You can easily commute and transact. And these are all creating efficiencies in terms of reducing the waste of travel time and other things to what? Transact financial related matters. We can also talk about the Ghana Digital Center, which is actually a government initiative, and it is basically concerned with developing technology parks. And you can talk about the typical Accra Digital Center as an example of this. So we have this infrastructure. Remember that when I was talking about digital innovations, I talked about the fact that we have the institutions and which deals with what? The structure. So we have this kind of structure in Ghana that is supporting that. We have the e-Transform project that is funded by the World Bank. And this is also aimed at enhancing public service delivery and also to promote ICT-based entrepreneurship in Ghana. So we have this infrastructure also in the country. Next slide, please. Still on this, we also have what is called the National Entrepreneurial and Innovation Plan. This is much more like a kind of a flagship initiative by the government of Ghana. And basically the concern is that it provides what do you call it? Support to entrepreneurs and those who are also innovating. They give funding, they provide trainings and mentorship for startups across various sectors. So it doesn't really matter where the startup is. You can look at this. This is a good infrastructure that is in the country. We have the Ghana Innovation Hub, which is also another collaborative space. And this is designed to support tech startups, basically those who are in technology-related startups. It also offers co-working spaces business development services, and access to network of investors. So if you are within the tech innovation space and you are looking for a possible infrastructure system for you to run on to be able to create an uprise of your intervention, this is something that you can look at. Next slide. I'm gradually coming to an end briefly. Then we want to ask ourselves, we see these two individuals, they have their cables, one has one part and the other, and basically it is supposed to demonstrate the issue of, are there opportunities for collaboration? You have this, I have this. And I want to start by saying that when you talk about research and innovation, fundamentally, these are driven by the identification of a problem. I have always stated to my students that when you talk about research, it is problem-oriented. When you talk about an innovation, innovations are also problem-oriented. So if we want to talk about the opportunities for collaborations, I think that it is important that we get back to understand what are the challenges that are confronting the technological advancement and digital innovation space within Ghana. Within those challenges are also the potholes that we can identify as opportunities for global partnership and for investment prospects. So what are the key challenges? Within the Ghanaian innovation space, we have an infrastructure challenge in terms of connectivity. So in a number of cases, sometimes people have limited access to reliable internet and mobile networks, especially within the rural areas. A key observation within Ghana is that most of the infrastructure is centered in the bigger cities. Most of them are in Accra, a few in Kumasi, and a number of the bigger cities. But of course, as a development researcher, we see that predominantly most of the development challenges that confront a nation are within the rural areas. So that offers an opportunity for us as participants in this webinar that if you want to create an innovative space or you are a stakeholder that has resources and you want to invest, this is an opportunity for you to identify. The dimension of electricity comes to being. What innovative ideas could we bring on board to make sure that we have secured electricity for startups and others? These are things we could look at as way of investment. We have the regulatory framework challenges, fundamentally navigating the complex dynamics of compliance. Sometimes you have a lot of startups that must be registered, they must do this and all the others. That is an opportunity. You could come in with investment in that regard. There is that as an issue. Data privacy and security is a major challenge for most startups, and that is an area that we can identify as a potential for investment. Next slide, please. Still on opportunities for collaboration and investment, we have the digital literacy and skill. Most startups and sometimes even within our educational curriculums in the universities, there is really limited education and training that is offered. So investors and people who are looking for domains of trying to create and advance the innovation industry in Ghana could be looking at these dimensions. Fundamentally, I mentioned that most of the startups lack finances, and the need for startup capital and also accelerating capital for startups is one area that is confronting them, and that actually offers some opportunity. So sorry, guys. I think that please, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
All right.
You can go ahead.
So I was talking about the key. All right. So one of the key areas fundamentally is in the domain of sustainability and scale up. This, we are not just talking about creating a litany of techniques that cannot be sustained. So whilst we talk about all the other points of potential investment, I think that my point and encouragement and words to investors is that let's look at sustaining what is possible, how to promote stability, securing in terms of funding to scale up the operations and expanding the reach of the current hubs are very important. And that is an area that you don't need to go in to create new Next slide. So the question we are asking ourselves is that we see that this partnership is with a number of African countries. So at the end of the day, investors who have joined, my point to you is that is Ghana actually setting the stage for a transformative partnership? And my answer is yes. How is that so? These are the points I want to leave with you. One, Ghana has set the stage in terms of strategy, policy, and institutions. It is important to state that from 2010 to 2020, Ghana has been, in terms of regulatory quality score, we have been 46%. And this is far higher compared. This is far higher compared to the consider Ghana. Ghana to consider is because Hello, audience.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. All right, thank you.
All
So
right.
I'm almost summing up.
Yeah.
I'm giving my closing thoughts. So in
Okay.
terms of internet penetration, we are looking at Ghana being second only in Africa. We are second to only South Africa. And that is the reason why we are saying Ghana has set itself as a stage for transformative partnership. And that is why you should consider Ghana. We could also talk about the human capital. Yes, in terms of a global talent competitive ranking, Ghana, amongst all the nations in the world, ranked 94th. And that is something to consider. So this is also part of the reasons you need to consider Ghana. Ghana has really set the stage for this. Next slide, please. So like I keep on saying, in this picture, I am saying that why to focus on Ghana still is because there is economic readiness. We have the investment and the support system. We have a lot of digital talent in the country. We have a lot of digital infrastructure, and we have the regulatory framework. And that is why we need to consider Ghana. Ghana has really set its role, and it is these that inform why I say we are looking at the riveting role of Ghana in Africa's research and innovation space. I want to take the opportunity to thank you once again. Sorry for the internet interruptions, but this is what I have to share with us, and I will leave it for us to have an opportunity to interact, ask questions. I am not the ultimate holder of all the knowledge. I know we have a lot of investors, startups here who will share some thoughts, and I'm ready to learn. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peter, Dr. Nana, for your presentation. You can actually make use of the applause emoji. I mean, he has really sailed through and persevered to share this information with us all. And at this moment, I would want to call on all participants who would want to make comments or ask questions for more clarity into the dynamics, potential, and opportunities that lie within the Ghanaian digital ecosystem. You can also let your voice be heard. So you can put your hands up using the hand raise hand emoji sign, and then you'll be called upon. Okay, so we're taking comments and questions. Okay, so Stella, let's hear from you. Hi, Stella. Okay, so Stella and Kuyati, you can go ahead. I think I
Okay,
have,
there we go.
yeah,
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. My question to Doc, and thank you so much for this detailed presentation. Um, I want to know exactly how women are being inculcated into this program. What can we do? What do we need to boost our digital infrastructure, especially in the agri space?
All right, well noted. So we can take two questions at a time, Doc, so you can address this. So let's hear from you, Kuyati. What your comment or question is.
Okay, good morning to each and everyone. First of all, I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm Morsire Kuyate from the Republic of Guinea. So I'm entrepreneur, and I even recently signed a partnership with an American company that we call Concentric Industry. So my question is that I really want to know if you are open about making a partnership, whether with me or my enterprise.
Okay. Let me also grab one question in the chat box, and then Dr. Peter can address these. I think the question goes, this from Jan Etman, says, I was wondering what was the main reasons for the gender gap among startup founders. So you have two gender-related questions in tech and also one entrepreneurial-related question. So Dr. Tendan, you can address them. Thank you.
All right. So I listening to the first question also related to women and agribusiness space. I think that part of the dimension may have to come to hyperspace in terms of whether the support, if there is support for maybe women in the agri space. For me, as should I say, in terms of the support from that dimension, I'll leave with hyperspace. Philippa and co, they will share some thoughts in that regard. But yes, fundamentally, I'll pick from the gender gap among this, and that will address a bit of the conversation. It is fundamentally about the issue of the averages. You have, let's say, 9% of females in a competition with 91. And if you want to do proportionate access in terms of funding, then definitely you see that majority of the male-dominated startups are likely to win the funds. But we also know that sometimes the system is gender biased. But and it's also about the way they have to scout out for funding. It is really about competition. And sometimes certain social related structures may inhibit females from really being the ultimate receivers of what certain fundings. So these are things that are also limiting the amount of access to funds by females, or the gender gap that is within the innovation and the startup space. And that is why I want to encourage our females that you push in, you have the innovative ideas. Sometimes it's also about a self-drive. Women are less likely to be much motivated to go into the competition, especially if they feel that I am the only female in the midst of so many males. That is quite discouraging. But it doesn't really, you need to begin to push in, and that is a way we can break the barriers and to be able to create that kind of balance in terms of access to fund and also in terms of the various innovations. It is also for us to also say that the investors and people who are looking at opportunities, given this disparity, it creates an opportunity for investors to tailor specific funding related needs or competitions that are for female startups. And I'm sure that once it is within a particular gender, then the competition, they are more likely to be available and ready to compete and to get ideas than when there is that kind of mixture between male and female. So these are my perspective. I think my brother from Guinea, his concern, I may have to ask Hyperspace whether are you thinking about and the SEADE project? Of course, I don't know whether Guinea is part of the scope and the reach, because he's asking about opportunities to support his enterprise or his startup. So I will want to leave that with Hyperspace and the others for them to be able to respond. I know where Ajiman have addressed the questions.
Yes, I think you have really given the response to the questions with females and the disparity and engaging in the digital ecosystem here in Ghana, and the issue about entrepreneurship. Yeah, ideally goes to Hyperspace if there are opportunities within the seed projects to partner entrepreneurs like Kuyati.
Ajimai,
And even
sorry,
to
can
add
the
to add,
question be re-asked?
Okay, so Kuyati said he's an entrepreneur within the agricultural space, if that sets me right, and he wanted to know if there were any avenues of partnership. Of course, he's already had the partnership with an American firm and wants to know if the SEADE project has avenues of partnership for entrepreneurs like himself. I don't know if Kuyati's question is well actually by myself. You can actually repeat yourself, Kuyati, if you think I did a good job for you on your question. Go ahead. Go ahead, Kuyati.
Okay, so looking at the name, I guess he's not Ghanaian. If that
Yeah.
is the case, then there's opportunity to work together in our soft landing program. So we
Okay.
can get in touch and then we can do that. Also, our webinars and our activities going on in the pilot regions are open to all. So he can join whenever, learn what's going on, and all that is also very much allowed. So if you would love to know more about the Ghanaian ecosystem and the Ghanaian markets, and you'd also love to enter into the Ghanaian markets, then we can work with you on our soft landing program.
Okay. Okay. I'm here. I thought I had a lot of technical interruption. So, my question was, if you are open whether to collaboration, partnership, or it may be again, let's say, the representative of your firm in Guinea here too. So that was my question.
Very
Okay,
well.
so thank you very much. I'd like to know
Mhm.
a bit about what you do, because that would determine whether there's an opportunity for us to do something together. So
Okay.
yes, so we can take your email and other details and we can contact you. But as I was saying earlier, since you are not a Ghanaian and you're not in Ghana, if there's an opportunity for you to be part of our soft landing program.
Okay.
And if you'd like to know more, as I said, we would communicate with you via email, via whichever means that suits you best, and we can go from there.
That will be really, I will really appreciate that. Whether
All
my
right.
mail or on LinkedIn, something
Okay,
like
can
that.
you drop your email in the chat for me?
Okay. Okay.
All
Okay.
Thank you
right.
very much.
Okay, so whilst that is done, let me also go to the chats and then see if I could also make out some questions and comments that would be important for the discussion. I find one here, I think it's from Yan again, says in Kenya, mobile money is opening up to the multinationals like Visa or MasterCard. Is that also happening in the mobile money sector in Ghana? Dr. Tendana.
so like I said, yes, Ghana, it's also happening. I may have to do a bit, I don't know specifically, but a number of the multinationals, they are doing that because of the mobile money interoperability that is happening. So, and most of the interventions, especially if you look at the various innovation hubs and the kind of support system they do, they use that also as a means of transfer of funds to people just to create that. And I think that the infrastructure is already there, but the decision to use that is dependent sometimes on the project conditions and the funding arrangements. If it is that, it must look at use the traditional banking systems to transfer funds. These are the dynamics that also inform, even though the infrastructure is there. Yeah. But that is good to know that in Kenya, there is great effort in terms of the utility of mobile money. In Ghana, it is happening.
Very well. And we still want to have more comments, more questions, inquiries, and a whole lot more. We've had some earlier. We can also get more You can put it through the Q&A section. You can be in the chat box, or it can also be more vocal expression. So let's hear from you, what you feel about the presentation and
Sorry,
what you would like to know.
Ajimai, I see
Mhm.
Stella also put her email. I want to
Mhm.
understand.
So Sela actually wanted to understand how women can also women can gain access to the digital ecosystem, and she is looking forward to gain access to, let's say, a digital hub or any digital innovator in Ghana, so she could understand how she can enroll within the space. If I've done a good PR for you, Stella, you can give me a thumbs up. If not, you can also come up and then share yourself. All right. I appreciate that. She
Okay,
wants
you got
more
a thumbs up.
information. Yeah, she wants more information.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
I think
Stella,
you could
please, what do you do?
you could talk to Farmer Line. I think Farmer Line have they are in terms. If I heard you right, you talked about the agri space, right?
Yes, that's for Stella.
Yes, for seller. So Farmer Line is one innovator within the space that is really pushing for stripes. Their story can be a learning curve for you. And I don't know, seller, it's a female, right? I look forward to your innovation, then I could introduce it to my farmers because I
Great.
work a lot with farmers. Yes.
Splendid. Yeah. And the conversation is gelling as usual. This is from Betty. She says, I am Betty from Uganda and I'm inquiring about collaboration research with your support. How do we know about it and how do we get involved? Dr. Tindana.
I didn't get a question. So she's asking for.
Collaborative research and how do she know about it and how does she get involved?
So speaking from my side as well as for the SEADE project, it is important that LinkedIn has become a bit more like a professional platform for us to discover these. So I would say follow the LinkedIn page because that is where you are able to get a lot of ideas about possible calls for collaborations in terms of generating innovative solutions. And that is the first thing that I want to leave with us. But I also do think that within this space, maybe after this webinar, we could also think about creating a collaborative platform where people can share ideas when they need an opportunity. So I leave that with hyperspace for us to see how best we could look at it. But these are the kind of frameworks I believe that serves as useful platforms for us to come together. In any case, often than not, ideas are not in the head of one person. So we may want to just create that platform and people can introduce what they are. Once we know your scale, then that is when we can always reach out to say that, okay, this person is a startup. There's a startup here. We can call for collaboration in that regard. I don't know whether if that answers the question.
Yeah, that's and what if she wants to collaborate with your support?
All right. I am available to discuss.
All right. So she also attached her email address, Betty Chuhasi at gmail.com. So in the comment section, you find her comments attached to her email because she's interested in collaborating with you for research. Very well. So I'll ask the questions of others have been answered. You can also bring yours to gain more insight into the Ghanaian digital ecosystem. Um, if you haven't asked a question, you have to ask a question. Don't be easily convinced about Ghanaian ecosystem. Say something about it. All right.
Well, I want to say something.
Go ahead.
Is the Betty from Uganda the Betty I know, the Betty I met at the learning expedition?
Okay, Betty, can you unmute yourself and then confirm to this declaration from Filipina if you were the one?
Or you can also put it in the chat if you can't speak. Anyways, I just wanted to find out because she was an integral part in our learning expedition.
She said yes.
Oh, hi, Betty. Oh, okay. Yeah, she's not allowed to unmute. Ajiman, can you?
Yeah, I think I just let me just do it again.
Yes, she even had a one-on-one session with a doctor from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology during the week. So that's why I wanted to confirm if it's Betty.
Yeah, I'm already unmuted now.
Oh, hi, Betty.
Hi, dear.
Our Betty. Yes, I know.
Yes, yes.
Betty, nice to hear from you.
Thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, it's so good to hear from you.
Yes.
I can testify that I'm benefiting from the Ghana eco space, from the digital. I found some very many good Ghana friends that are supporting me at an individual level with the digitalizing my small enterprise. So thank you for that.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Betty. And we will continue to be in touch, of course. You are number one on our soft landing program, so we'll be in touch. All right. Thank you.
1 minute. What is it really involved in soft landing?
Okay, so as you recall, during our learning expedition, we introduced you to the Ghanaian markets, the digital ecosystem. We went to Academic City. We saw all of that. Yes. Now, soft landing will target those who want to enter into the market. You've seen the market. Now you want to really enter into the Ghanaian ecosystem and the Ghanaian market, and we will guide and make your way smooth. So it's a soft landing. You land very softly into the Ghanaian ecosystem and the Ghanaian market. So, yeah, we'll be giving you more details about it as time goes on.
Thank you so much. Actually, like the Ghana Academic City was very interesting that I would wish to have a follow-up with Makerere University and see if we can have some collaboration between Academic City and Makerere. But thank you.
That's lovely.
That's lovely.
Yes, that's lovely. And since the AAU team are also here, if there's anything you need to make that collaboration like easy, smooth, and everything, AAU is there for you. They can act as the intermediary between that university and yours.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, Isabella is giving a thumbs up, so I'm right on track. Thank you very much, Betty.
That is what I call spot on access. and there we go. Betty, thank you so much for your comments. I appreciate your participation. And there's also to all members. I see a whole lot of members in the house, partner members, and also all the participants from other parts of the continent who I believe joined because they look forward to understand the dynamics within the Ghanaian digital ecosystem. What I'm actually looking forward from you is to share your view about what you've heard. Are you looking forward to make more inquiry about being in Ghana to participate or be part of our digital revolution, or you have questions or comments or contributions to support our transition and our strength towards enhancing the digital ecosystem here in Ghana? The room is open for a lot more contributions so we could wrap up this webinar series. Okay, so whilst I take some. Okay, so I've not seen any other hands thus far. So I will just take remarks, closer remarks from the organizers of this program, Hyperspace, represented by Madame Filipina, and I'll also take a word from the partner organization in Ghana, AAU, representing Isabella Stahenokwa. You could also put in a word on your remark on today's webinar series, and it will be concluded. I would say not concluded. I have Jan Edman also here. Jan, a very great fellow. You could also put in a word to the SEADE project on behalf of SEADE, and then Dr. Peter Tendan would also put a concluding remark so we could end the webinar. So four of you also kindly prepare some remarks, brief remarks to this engagement so we could bring it to an end. Let me start with you, Filipina.
Okay. So it's been great. I particularly enjoyed the background Doc gave about Ghana and how he walked us through it right from the beginning, even the name Ghana, to the point where he talked about digital innovation ecosystem. That was brilliant. I enjoyed myself and I learned a lot. And I would also like to say a very big thank you to all who were able to join, especially those from outside of Ghana who are interested in our ecosystem that much to take time off their busy schedules to be here. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate you. And I will also urge you to follow the SEADE project on social media. You can do that via LinkedIn. Just go to LinkedIn, type SEADE, SEADE, and follow us, interact with us on social media, and that will ensure that you don't miss any activity of ours, or webinars or seminars, anything and everything. You will get access to and register and be with us to learn, to share, and to collaborate. Thank you very much from Hyperspace. You can also follow Hyperspace on our social media platforms and all the Instagram, YouTube, wherever is Hyperspace. And we will also be sharing activities of SEADE, especially the soft landing coming up. So if you're interested, just follow us and then follow along as we get you to a very soft landing into Ghana. Thank you very much.
All right. And also on behalf of my colleague Isabella and the AAU is a partner to the project, and I'll help helping you gain access to higher education institutions, researchers, and other innovators who are within the universities for any collaboration or access that you want to explore. So if, like Betty said, she loved the expedition program where Academic City introduced their programs and how I'll say transformative they were to enhancing digitalization. If you want access to higher education institutions and also their offers and research in the digital field, you can also count on an AAU, and we would be there to support you to create access for you. I would also say thank you to Jan. He has sent in the comments, and it's so grateful that thank you very much for the detailed information and great insight. Indeed, it has been such a very great moment where we've all had a great insight into the Ghanaian ecosystem with the background and also where we're heading to strategically. So thank you, Jan, for your interest within the Ghanaian ecosystem and the whole of more in Africa. I will now want to rest it on Peter Doc Tindan. He has been the speaker for today, and his concluding remarks would be as follows. Let's go, Peter Doc.
All right. So thank you. I say that it is important for us. I have started my own innovation in terms of addressing issues relating to psychosocial support for vulnerable groups and livelihoods. I call it the Center for Psychosocial Support Center for Vulnerable Groups and Livelihoods. This was something that I conceptualized when I conducted my PhD. And the fact that when we have risk, environmental risk happening like climate change, fire, disasters, and all the others, the floods, often are not most of our interventions to address the challenges is geared towards material support. What about the psychological health? That's what my innovation is addressing in the space. So I just want to say that we are glad for the various opportunities and for all the partners in this, what you are doing. And for me, giving the opportunity to share some few thoughts, which are not conclusive, but it was just to also guide our learning and to provoke our thoughts to look at the Ghanaian space. I am grateful that you were my audience, and thank you very much. And I look forward to possible greater collaborations. And we want to say that together we can. There is really hope. For me, I believe that the supposed darkness over the African continent, we in our various ways, by the little ideas, we will be able to do that. There is a song that it says, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." So all I'm just telling the various innovators and startups is that that little light of yours, let it shine, and it will shine, and it will shine. The brighter yours shines from your corner and mine is shining from, at the end of the day, we'll see that there is greater illumination. And that's my final message that I want to leave with us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peter, Dr. Dan, for your participation today. Your insights were overwhelming, invaluable, and we all stand appreciative for what you've done today. Thank you so much, all stakeholders. And just before we wrap it up, if you look into the chat box, there is a survey link in there. Now, that is to help us evaluate the effectiveness of this webinar. So if you've been a participant and you want to share with us your concerns on how well it went, I mean, the good, the bad, it's all good to factor in how plan a better one next time. So kindly reach the chat box and copy the link and then try and then put in your view on how the webinar went so we could also know what to do for you, just for you. And at this moment, I think that if you have been to the chat box to pick the link, it will be a good time to say, put your camera on for the last time because we have to do one last time, photography. It has to go down in history that you were here and I was here. So put your camera on, everybody, wherever you are. Wherever you are, put your camera on. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so let me also grant access to participants who, yes. So all participants can now access to put their cameras on. Yeah, I see Betty. Yeah, she has a very big smile, very lovely one. Okay. We still have members who haven't put their camera on. Okay, got you. Okay, so I hope and I will perceive that all members with their cameras not on may be having technical challenges. If not, kindly lively up. Let us take a photograph. A big smile will do. Okay, so it has been done. And it's lovely, and it will be shared with you all to see how beautiful it looks like. I'm glad to be your moderator for today. My name is Ajiman Ochodako. Nice people. It's been a great time with you all, learning and also sharing knowledge. Have a nice day and bye. Thank you.
So there will be a replay.